By the way, this video is a segment from my bigger video, the 47 best things to do in Ghana. Make sure you check that one out too. I'll put a link at the end. Akwaba, everyone. And because it gets the least amount of love, and I love it so much, I am going to start with the northern region. A lot of people come up to the north just to go to Mole National Park, and that's great because it is an awesome experience. And I have an entire video on that, so I'll put that link in the description because it's a really complete video if you're visiting there. But what you need to know about Mole National Park is they have both walking and jeep safaris, and your chances of having a close encounter, not dangerously close, but a close encounter with some of the wildlife near Mole National Park is pretty darn good. I mean, I found myself closer to warthogs and antelope and elephants than you would imagine. So yeah, definitely. If you are coming up, really try to leave yourself time, like at least one overnight, if not two, to do both a walking and a jeep safari at Mole National Park. Now, when you're at Mole, you are also going to want to go to a town called Larabanga. Why do I want to go to Larabanga, you might ask? You may or may not use that tone of voice, but you might ask. Well, Larabanga has two sites, and a lot of people just stop and see the mosque. The mosque in Larabanga is really cool. It's actually done in an old Sudanese style. And it is just a really interesting mosque to look at. Plus, there is a very interesting story about how and why it got established. The thing is, there's another part of the story, and that is at the Mystic Stone. So they're a little distance away. You'll need a little taxi ride, but you're going to want to go to the mosque and the Mystic Stone and get both stories and hear the whole thing, because it's a really cool story, and they're both really cool structures and things to see. And there's no trouble going to Larabanga because it is it's the last town before you go into Mole National Park. So you're going to kind of be passing through anyways, whether you catch it on the way in or the way out or one afternoon, because it just takes an hour or two. And keep some small money in your pocket because you're going to need to pay some guides and some entrance fees and things like that. And they're all small fees, but you're going to want to have some small bills in your pocket. Oh, you didn't actually think I was just going to do some plain old listicle video and not include some travel tips, did you? You should know me better than that by now. And if you're a new viewer, thank you and welcome. Whether you arrive by plane or bus, on your way to Mole National Park, you are inevitably going to pass through the northern region's capital, Tamale. And the thing is, some people race through it and never see it. You don't want to do that. You want to spend a day or two or three here because there's a whole bunch of cool stuff to do. Would you be surprised to know that I've made a big video on that? So I'll link that in the description. But let me cover the best of the best things to do in Tamale. Number one, the National Cultural Center in Tamale is really awesome. In fact, I did a whole video on that too. But there are arts and crafts shops. They are crafts and handmade items from all around the region. And you'll even get some that are from neighboring countries, you know, like Burkina Faso and Mali and such like that. But they just have a whole lot of cool stuff going on there, and the people are really mellow and fun and nice to talk to. And there are some restaurants in there as well, and they're like local type restaurants, not fancy Western-y type restaurants. They're local restaurants. And if you're lucky, you'll get to see the TAMA troupe rehearse, and they are a drum and dance cultural troupe, and they are really awesome. The best time to catch them is the last hour before sunset, Monday through Friday. But the schedule is not 100% all the time, so you'll just have to check on whatever days you're here. And do know that they don't rehearse during Ramadan. Number two would be Tamale's Central Market, and it is actually just a short distance from the cultural center. The Central Market here is really cool because it has an inner space if you like to dive in and get into a nice, nook and crook type of market, but there's a lot of outer space too. So if you aren't real sure about diving into deep in the market, you don't have to. There's plenty of stuff to see on the outer edge. I don't know about you, but I love visiting local markets. Number three, if you have a proper guide, you can visit the chief's palace. And I will let you know that there are several chief's palaces in the area. There's a whole bunch of them. But there's a main one in the center of Tamale. Oh, the wind is whipping up. It is rainy season here, and storms can come and go. We're going to see. But if you visit the chief's palace, you have to do some things, like you need to take kola nuts as an offering, and Abdullah, or any guide, but Abdullah is really awesome, will take you to the market to get some kola nuts and then make a proper introduction for you at the palace, and then you'll get the full tour of everything they have to show you. It's one of those things you do on a trip that just adds another layer of texture and interest, and is something different that you probably don't have at home. Probably. And if the lighting changes through this video, I apologize, but it's like there's a cloud, then it's sunny, then there's cloud, and it's sunny. You can kind of see in the back window behind me, but there's only so much I can do today, or this entire season for that matter. So I can't just wait for a sunny day, or I'd never get this filmed. So thank you for your patience. Number 4 on the list of things to do in Tamale is to visit local artisan workshops, whether it's pottery or textiles or shea butter or modern art. There are plenty of artists to see here. This is something you will need a guide for, because the places are fairly far out, and some of the artists really don't speak English. They only speak their local language. So you just definitely need someone to go with you. And I'll put Abdullah's contact information in the description, because he knows everybody. He knows this town like nobody's business. But that's what's really cool about the local artists, is you get to visit them in their homes. You get to see a little bit of village life and get a real taste for what they do. And number 5, one of the things you really want to do while you're here in Tamale is ride a yellow. Yes, it is just the local transport. It looks like it's just a tuk-tuk, and it is, but they are all sorts of fun, and they are the best way to get around town. So when you're getting around on your own, you just flag one down and tell them where you want to go, and you go. You want to ride a yellow while you're here. When you're here, you'll understand. They are just everywhere. But it's definitely one of the experiences you want to do when you're in Tamale. And there's actually even more to do in Tamale, but if I try to put everything in my best of list, well, this would take forever. So check out the longer video if you're interested. Now, one of the things that most tourists don't do when they come up to the northern area is they don't go further up north to Bolgatanga, Paga, and Gambaga. And let me explain. You're going to want to go on a market day. And there are 2 markets in Bolgatanga on that day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The one in the morning starts really early, and it's the basket market. And I mean, it's closing between 9 and 10 a.m. So that's closing time. So you got to get there really early. But Bolgatanga is like the center of basket making for the region. I mean, it is, they make really awesome stuff there. So you are going to want to go check them out. Then you take the 40-minute drive up to Paga, which is near the border with Burkina Faso, and you visit the chief's crocodile pond. And for a small fee, they will bring out a treat for the crocodile and summon one to the shore for you. And you can, shall we say, interact with it. Different people do different things, but as I've learned from other crocodile petting places, just avoid the head. And then you stop for lunch somewhere, either in Paga or Bolga, and then you, in the afternoon, you go and you visit the local market. And the local market in Bolga is kind of a riot. I mean, I had a whole lot of fun the day I went, and there were like sheep running through, and there was a cow, and there were people everywhere. And it was just a really fun market to visit. And it is a big one. So just wander through at whatever pace makes you comfortable. But just know it's a real easy market to wander through too. Now, if you want, you can do that in one day and go back to Tamale and, start super early and do that all in one day and be back by nightfall. But if you spend an overnight, then on the way back the next day, you can go to Gambaga, which is a witchcraft village. And it has people from all over the region, and I mean, not just northern Ghana, but all the neighboring countries as well, that have been accused of witchcraft. And unfortunately, this makes them outcasts. And they have this village where the people in the surrounding town have accepted them, and they don't hassle them, they don't harass them or anything. But this little village of people, they're still kind of outcasts. So they really appreciate when you visit, because of course you make a donation and it helps the entire village. Now, I already mentioned that in Tamale, the yellows are the easiest and best way to get around, and I love them. But in every other place I'm going to mention, Bolt is probably your better option. And there's the perfect segue for me to jump to the next city, Kumasi. Dun, 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 dun.